Greetings, sorcerers. Welcome back to the Contested Realm. My name's Jesse Muleman Marshall. It's great to be here at the end of Crossroads season in 2025. What a first year of sorcery organised play it's been. Thank you to every one of you who took part in a cornerstone event at your local store or travelled to the Crossroads for one of our Crossroads events. We began at Gen Con in July with the first Crossroads event. Then we had the Europe Gelsenkirchen event in Germany. We had the Melbourne event in Australia, right alongside PAX Australia, and then we headed back to the United States for 3 SCG CON Crossroads events to round out the year. Throughout that season, we've had a range of cornerstone events taking place all over the globe, and it's been amazing to see so many players coming out and contesting the realm. To every one of you who took part in a Crossroads event or a cornerstone event so far in 2025, thank you very much for being a part of Sorcery Organised Play. You've helped to build a really fantastic community and helped to expand the realm in ways that we didn't even think were possible. We've seen the spirit of sorcery alive and well at all of these events. And as we announced at the beginning of our Crossroads at SCG CON recently, we asked our players to look after each other, take care and have fun, and that's exactly what we've seen. We saw a range of players playing in the spirit of sorcery, being cool, having fun, doing the right thing, looking after each other, and making sure that everyone was having a good time. And that's what we've seen throughout our Crossroads events in 2025 and in our Cornerstone events all over the globe. So thank you, the sorcery community, for making that magic happen. Now we're going to head on to the grand final match from our final Crossroads of 2025 that took place in Las Vegas, Nevada very recently. In this match, you're going to see Mike playing the Druid and Ed on the Battlemage. This is our first Battlemage appearance at a finals of a Crossroads in 2025, so let's see how Ed goes. Can he take it down and win one for the Battlemage fans out there, me included? So we've got Ed on the right-hand side of the screen here and Mike on the left. Ed is piloting the Battlemage and Mike has the Druid. So we can see the beautiful rainbow foil avatars there with the Druid at the top of the battlefield. Ed looks like using a Battlemage version brought from home with the text box, but there's a rainbow avatar Battlemage hiding there somewhere in Ed's collection, I'm sure. So starting off with a Glastonbury Tor for the Battlemage here, which is a fantastic tri-site, one of the castles from Arthurian Legends, that allows a Battlemage player to hit all sorts of different threshold that can be handy. A lot of Battlemage decks will have air and fire, and Ed's Battlemage list also has the water element too. So no water threshold as yet for Ed, but we'll see if one comes through here. So into Tower and Grim Gussam on the Battlemage. So Mike has led off with a Valley of Delight, getting a fire threshold by the looks of things. Summoning Tawny. And then on turn 2 here, Mike tapping the Druid to play Rift Valley, pulling the Dark Tower forward. And that is a very brave play. So Mike, knowing that Ed has a Grim Gussam and can potentially deal 6 damage next turn by attacking onto that Rift Valley, if he's willing to plateau at 2 mana, Mike's saying, well, I'm going to present you 2 damage from the Warhorse, 1 damage from the Tawny, put you down to 17. And if you want to stop tapping to play sites and you just want to sit there on 2 mana and hit me with your Grim Gussam, go ahead. But you're also going to get hit back twice as hard. That's, of course, the downside of the Gussam. So Ed here, as the Battlemage player, perhaps seeing red and thinking, look, I can't turn down that 6 damage. I'm getting in there. So in goes the Battlemage. Hits him for 6, plays a Ring of Morrigan, down to 1 mana, and has the Pit Vipers for a follow-up play. Gonna ping, has the option here to ping Tawny or ping Mike. So electing to ping the Druid. So a couple of, amazingly for how few things there are on the board here, and we're on turn 2, some absolutely incredible choices there for Ed to make. Really impactful and really difficult choices where there's no right answer at this stage in the game. But Ed electing not to take out Tawny. Of course, the downside of leaving Tawny on the board here is that Tawny can attack in and potentially strike the Battlemage twice as hard because of the Gussam. That's if the Pit Vipers don't defend, of course. But the upside being that Ed managed to deal 1 extra damage with the Ring of Morrigan to Mike by pinging the Druid instead of the Pit Vipers. The Druid instead of the Tawny. So is the Pit Vipers going to come here and defend against the Warhorse? Warhorse is threatening 4 damage to the Battlemage, which is quite a lot. So as expected, the Pit Vipers does come in, defends against the Warhorse, takes the blow instead of the Battlemage. And the Druid tapping to play a Vesuvius. Now that is... that is presenting some more damage to Ed, who's already getting ganged up on a little bit here, and Quarrelsome Kobold's exactly what he didn't want to see. Not only is it more damage immediately, but it's strike damage, so it will get doubled by the Grimgusarm. So rather than just being 2 damage from the Kobold strike, it's actually 4 here. So Ed gonna have the choice, if he does want to play a Sight, then he could potentially stabilize with some more Ring of Morrigan and damage, but he's got a Magic Missiles, so he's going to do 2 damage to the Quarrelsome Kobolds, and he's doing 1 to the Druid or 1 to Tawny. He's going Tawny this time. So 1 to the Tawny, and then smashing in for 6. So this is a fantastic start for Ed, knowing that he's got such a low-to-the-ground Battlemage list with so many 1-drops and 2-cost spells. He does have some opportunities to plateau here at 2 mana and threaten quite a lot of damage off the Grimgusarm being accelerated out on turn 2, and then that Rift Valley coming in that aggressive position. So what's Mike got to stabilize things here? He's now going up to 4 mana, so he's really starting to get that mana advantage over Ed. He gets Tawny again on the back row there on the step, and then a Common Sense to try and find an answer. And it's a Disenchant. So in some ways, you know, Ed is not going to be too disappointed with this. He's still carrying a significant life lead here. 13 to 6. He's untapping. Yes, he's 1 behind on mana, but he can now tap to play his 3rd Sight. And then he's got the options, depending on what he has in hand, to potentially deploy some more aggression, although Ed's list is one that is more focused on the Battlemage itself attacking rather than aggressive minions. So we see the Floodplain, we see a Crown of the Victor, because that Battlemage has killed a minion in the game. That Tawny did attack into the Battlemage, and it also Magic Missiled the 2 minions, so plenty of kills racking up for the Battlemage here. So the Crown of the Victor is turning the Battlemage into a 6-power unit. So Ed saying, you had to put us in this situation with that Rift Valley. It was a bait, a red flag that Ed just could not ignore charging in. And now saying to Mike, all right, well, what have you got on the defensive side of things to slow me down? So Mike brings out a Redcap Poweries, also has the attack off Tawny onto the Dark Tower. So that's a total of 4 damage to Ed this turn, taking Ed from 13 down to 9. And then we're seeing the Bruin flip. So this is the, of course, huge advantage that Druid gets, and one of the reasons that we do often see Druid at the top tables in these events, because you get the Tawny early, and then you've got this moment when you can flip into Bruin and give yourself that extra defensive press from the Bruin's 4 power, but also the ability to redirect strike damage to Bruin. So we're seeing the Polymorph, which is the perfect riposte here. So the Floodplain floods the Dark Tower, gives Ed a second water threshold off 1 single water site through the flooding of the Dark Tower, turning that into a water threshold producing site also. We see the Battlemage attack in. Unfortunately, the thing with Polymorph is it does leave your opponent with a defender. So the Battlemage being 6 power was threatening to attack in for lethal on the Druid, or rather to put the Druid to death's door, but instead the cheeky little frog that was left behind, Bruin the Frog, still manages to defend the Druid and keeps Mike at 6. Then we see the Redcap Parries attack. The Burrowed Pit Vipers that Ed had placed underneath the Glastonbury Tor is able to defend. Trades with the Redcap Parries. The Druid and the Tawny both come in for 2 more damage, down to 7. And of course, the Battlemage here is going to be risking taking more damage from moving into Mike's sights as well. So Ed down to death's door. So Ed has to be extremely careful as Battlemage here. He can't actually move. He's also stuck on one of his own sites, meaning that he's not actually able, with a deck that's focused on Battlemage itself attacking, he's not actually able to attack off onto Mike's sites, because if he did so, then the Druid would ping him, dealing that death blow. So instead, he has to camp on his own site, and he knows that if he's camped on his own site, he's simply not going to be able to get enough damage through with things like the Pit Vipers to finish the game quickly enough. And of course, knowing that Mike was going to have a way to finish the game the next turn with 2 attackers. So an amazingly swift game, a quick one, but certainly one that showcases some of the incredible things that you can see happen in a game of Sorcery. Rift Valley coming down early, a Battlemage attacking in, suited up with the Grim Gassam, hitting in for 6 on turn 3, but then the Dispel managing to take out the 2 key artifacts, the Ring of Morrigan and the Grim Gassam, and leaving Ed, unfortunately, unable to close out the game. And of course, we can't forget Bruin, who, despite being transformed into a frog, managed to save Mike from defeat, or at least from going to death's door. So wow, what an incredible game from the players, an incredible event, and thank you all once again for being a part of the Crossroads season and the first organised play season for Sorcery in 2025. It's been an absolute blast. We'll have more info for you to recap the 2025 organised play season over the next couple of weeks, and then we will ride into 2026 together with some more announcements about what to look forward to in the new year. So take care. Thank you very much for being a part of this Sorcery Contested Realm organised play program in 2025, and keep on enjoying contesting the realm.